So this is the proper way to insert this brass cup in case it comes out. You put it in, you can see that there's actually a lip around here. See this lip? You want to get it in there. And the thing is, if you try to bang on it with tools, a lot of times it only goes in about this far, which is not far enough. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I got to figure out a way to do this in the car where you press on both sides evenly and you hear that snap? Okay, and then the way to get it out is hard to do when it's in the car, but you got to grab it like this and twist it and pull, and it'll finally come out, but you'll also end up scratching it. It's easier when the pump is off, of course. I figured out why it's impossible for me to put that cup all the way in. You really can't tell, but this whole thing popped out. And the reason why is because it's, you know, as this thing is mounted with these 4 bolts, I think the spring is always under compression. And farting around with trying to jam this thing in here over and over again, even with a nice drift, has made it so that that loosened up and it popped out, and it's basically got the whole spring and everything for the whole thing. It rides on a camshaft, and I even tried starting the motor a little bit, just very shortly, you know, to see if I could find a position where it's not under tension, and I don't think that there is one. So I'm going to undo these 4 bolts at least halfway, let that thing go all the way back down in, put this thing on there, and then I can tighten it back down, and I think it's going to be fine. I'll let you know how it goes. So anyways, it had popped up a little bit, so that means that every time I try to insert this thing, it won't go all the way down inside. And I got into a situation where all the guts actually came completely out of the car. Well, at that point, you're pretty screwed. There's no way you're going to get it back in. So what I did was I undid the mounting bolts themselves so that the pump would come out a little bit, and it's kind of shaking around loose. And then I managed to pop that back in. I'm going to put this back in. I'll show you over here. Look here. There's the 4 mounting bolts. I've actually loosened them up quite a bit. I'm going to reach in here and grab the fuel lines. As you can see, the pump itself is actually loose. Okay? Now, it took a little bit of, like, basically the back of a screwdriver and a hammer, and I went pop, and I popped that guy back in. Now I should be able to put the brass cup back in. Then I'm going to put the top on first. Then I'm going to tighten this down. My recommendation is that this job probably should actually be done on a bench, where you take the extra time and effort, and it's a pain, I know, but to undo, you know, all these fuel lines and stuff, and just take it out and do it on a bench. That way you won't have the spring under tension, you won't have the problem I did.